Alright, kia ora whānau. Welcome back to another mad vlog. Got my cootie over yonder. We know what you're all here for. Keys to the city, I got them for you tonight, whānau. Actually this morning. Before we get into it though, I just want to touch on a bit of the origin story. So this morning's video vlog, we talked about some car thieving. So we talked about the Falcons, we talked about barreling the Mazdas in the Fords or the Telstars. We talked about plugging the VNs. If you knew how to force the old VLs and the VK Commodores, or even jiggling, or the old butterfly ignitions on the old Kingswoods, or the single butterfly on the old VB Commodores and up to the VL, you sort of know what era I'm talking about. So that would have been the, let's say early 90s, so 93 onwards. That's sort of when it all started for me. Like I said, I met Danny Smitty from Windery, all the way from Windery, Ballarat. The very first car we stole a yellow XC. This is the first car he ever taught me how to steal, a yellow XC. We just stole it from just down the road where I lived in Commercial Road in Footscray. And we drove that yellow XC all the way to Windery, Ballarat. Had a mean time up there for the weekend. The bro turned it on at all the bros' houses and, showed us some, some of the sights around Ballarat. And then to get home, we just went to the local hospital and, borrowed another vehicle and came home. But anyway, troubles come with vehicles. You just can't steal cars and not get into trouble. And quick disclaimer though, whānau, I'm not endorsing none of this again. This is all just my story. This is what I live, and I'm documenting this strictly for education purpose and documentative purpose. You never know, someone might want to make a movie out of this. Rachel Lang, or whatever your name is, whoever you are, with the West Side and all that, get involved, get in touch, and we might be able to work something out. I got something for you. I got a screenplay for you, if you like. But anyway, going back to the popping barrels. So we end up in Tirana. So this was the old Tirana before Melbourne Juvenile Justice Centre, or whatever the heck they call it today, the old South Bank and all that. Old Poplar House, we're talking old Poplar House. Old Tirana, Class A, cooler bar, the good old days, way back, the old building. I'll try and get you some shorts of all what I'm talking about. Even talking about how we used to drive up the old driveway into Pentridge, and you'd come up the long driveway past Jaika, and you'd sort of go past the old the kitchen, and you'd have to go through a little roller door there, and there was the kitchen and the kitchen unit. I'm sure that's where the boys lived, just there. And then there was a wall, and that wall, that's where you went into the Melbourne I think it was called the Metropolitan Remand Centre, which was D Division and I think G Division and F Division, and I'm not too sure what the other, Jaika, so J Division. Anyway, you go up in there, next to the laundry, there was a little search box. First time in my life I've ever had to bend over and spread them whānau. Never had to do that in boys' homes, but in the men's prison, woo-wee, straight into it, no muck around. Anyway, straight out of there, and you walk down this long sort of like corridor, and it's just like in the movies. It's nothing like in the movies, but this scene is just like in the movies. Like, so you walk down this long corridor, and there's all this steam coming out of this laundry, and all the men are staring at you. Well, not staring, but just checking you out, looking to see who's coming in. They might recognise someone, whatever. New bunch of new young fellas. There was a whole heap of us on this particular day. On this day in the van. Some of the old riders might remember these guys, but old Turtle or Aspro, he was on the bus with us, and another fella, Triple. They used to ride up Triple and Turtle back in the 90s. If anybody watching know those guys, drop it in the comments how they're going and all that. But yeah, I remember old Triple. He told me a story. First time I was going in, I was like, "Oh, bro, what do we call these fellas?" He's like, "Yeah, we call them Kerr." And I was like, because it's close to Sir. But something in the old, thing was ringing bells. So I never ended up calling any of those bosses Kerr. It was either Mr. or Boss. Boss is usually what we called them there. They were just boss. And yeah, anyway, end up in F Division. So you go down that little corridor by the laundry, and then you turn right, and then right next to you there would be F assessment, they called this. It actually wasn't a division, it was just a little assessment yard. So they'd put you in there, if it was your first time in, and they'd assess, what sort of vibe you're giving off. If you're a bit of a bad dude, they might put you in a separate sort of location. I'm not too sure how they worked it, but because I was young, 17, they decided for the young fellas, they put us on the food line. So they gave us jobs. They said, right, you guys, when it comes to dinner, after dinner, you do all the cleaning, and they put us in free yard. But the thing with free yard, bloody hell, if anyone been in free yard, you know, hey, never mind 1 and 2 yard or kestrel, or 2 and 3 yard, 1 and 2 yard, 3 yard, and 4 and 5 yard. These changed between protection, like 1 and 2 yard was protection at one stage, and then as the mainstream started getting, you know, well, crime started rising, they needed to fill that up, so, you know, they modified it. But activities is where you wanted to be. You wanted to get down in activities. And back in those days, we had like, you know, the likes of Richard Milanovic or King Rich or Mad Rich, if anyone knew Mad Rich. Yeah, you know, got lots of yarns about Rich. I stayed at Richard's house, met his missus, you know, whoever else he introduced me to. I had some mean yarns. Got some mean yarns with that fella. Hung around with him. One day I rocked up in town in Russell Street. The bro was getting on, you know, in the old Russell Street pennies. And I rolled up there one day in a TX5 Telstar. And he was like, oh, bro, Leon, I need a ride. And I was like, yeah, all good, Rich, jump in. He's like, oh, no, I'll drive. Oh, bro, no, I don't know anyone that said no to that, man. But yeah, let him drive. Worst mistake of my life, but mean, crazy, just madness. He was a madness, that man. They called him Mad Richard. He was the only man in the whole of D Division. This was a 3-tier prison. And in that prison, not one man could leave his stuff in his cell during the day. So when you left your cell during that day, we had these sacks, these green sacks, and you put everything in your sack when you left, just in case, because you could never guarantee that you're going to go back to the same cell. They could just move you because someone else wanted to move you out and so they'll do that because, you know, they got push, you know, so like, you know, for the likes of, you know, Mad Rich, he could just push someone out at will and put anyone else in he wanted. But we'll come back to that, getting distracted. Going back to the Tirana days. Yeah, first one's in there, and then, like I said, 17 Pentridge, first leg Loddon, second leg Beechworth, third leg these are just in Victoria, mind you. Like there's more to come in all the other states. You know, couple of, well, not a couple, but you know, one in WA, one little tiny one in New South Wales, and then another reasonable one in bloody Queensland, sorry, and then, you know, few in Aotearoa, New Zealand. But there's another long story. We're on my apprentice story. Sorry, fun, I'm getting distracted. Okay, so back to the old my apprenticeship keys to the city. Sorry, fun, you know, just trying to get the old, you know, the yarns. And anyway, we're on the ground here. So we're talking about my keys to the city. So I've talked about, you know, I've got keys to cars now. So I'm mobile. I can get all around the whole of Melbourne. I've travelled on the trains and all that, so I've got a pretty decent idea of direction, a sense of direction. So but if anybody knows, we had this thing called a Melways, and in any car, everybody had a Melways. We used to even jockey for them. So when we were young, we're trying to find the latest edition. So if someone found the latest edition, we'd always want to use that one because, you know, these Melways are, if I had one, I could show you how unique they were and how we used them, especially back in these early days for these keys. Back to the keys. All right. Right. That's right. I'm back on track now, whānau. Sorry. So going back to the jiggling the falcons. I was 14. I'm jiggling falcons. I'm going to school in hotties. You know, got my ex-girlfriend and my girlfriend in the back. You know, rolling around like I'm the man. And I pulled up at school one day, and my bro Daniel. Well, like I said, he had an older brother, and his older brother. Like at school, he had this, you know, he had the reputation, oh, the bro Lee, he's in boys' homes, you know, Tirana. Fuck, you know, he fucking robbed all this and that, he was famous. And then, lo and behold, he must have got out. And he came to the school one day, and it just so happened to be when I rolled up in this hottie. And, you know, we just got talking, whatever. Next minute, I meet his uncle. I met his little brother. I actually met them at school already, but I just didn't, you know, there's no link yet, you know, but this is where the link all comes in. And even, you know, the little brother, Bo, he's the little brother out of them all. Bro, he was one of a kind, that man. He passed away now. Another good friend of mine, and you know, sadly passed away to the, you know, you know, just to life, eh? But anyway, back on my apprenticeship, yeah. My bro Lee's uncle, I won't drop any names here, because just, you know, no need to you know, just in case he's still doing well in life, and you know, there's no need to complicate his life. Anyway, let's call him old Samuel. Okay, so old Samuel, he's come along and he's noticed that me and my young mates, we've got access to these cars, and because he's a bit of a, you know, he's the what would you call it, the master, right? The sensei, and I'm the apprentice. I'm the wanting to be apprentice as soon as I find out what this guy's about. So this guy comes along. Anyway, he sees the potential in having the ability to take stolen vehicles, borrowed vehicles, and use them in his operation. And his operation was, you know, what I do. So he's the one that taught me what I do. And so first story was he First time he ever sort of met us, he was like, "Boys, you want to come out for a bit of an earn?" And he took us out to, this was 93, right? So 93, way back in, it was called Taylor's Lakes back then, shopping centre, Taylor's Lake shopping centre, and there was a hardware store in there. We went through the back door, or they went through the back door, Jimmy the back door, you know, because we didn't know nothing about any of this. And we were just sitting in the car, and him and the bro come back, boom, boom. And they'd pop the door, and next minute they had the door to the, so they pop the door into the shopping centre, and they go through the shopping centre to the hardware store shop, pop that door, then they come out and get us, and they're like, "Boys, come and give us a hand." And we loaded up all the wheelbarrows, and you know, we just started rolling out to the car full. We put the shop out of business anyway. I feel bad for them. Always felt bad for them after that, because you know, we always went back and that shop was never there again. But you know, that was our first earn. And that was our like little tester. And then, you know, he's like, "Yeah, these boys are keen," you know. So he took us out again, you know, a week later, whatever. And this time we were stepping it up now. So we went to St Albans, and there was an old Video Easy or something out the back. It's not there now, but yeah, it was a Video Easy out the back. So if you got off the train and you're sort of going to Sydenham ways, it'd be just off in the, you know, the sort of 2 o'clock direction. It was out in that sort of area. And if anyone knows, you know, drop a comment. Well, same thing, Jimmy the door, you know, no alarm, whatever. So we were lucky we could sort of do as we pleased in there again. And then we found the safe. He taught us how to, you know, crack open these safes. You know, these are easy, you know, just, you know, little, you know, ones the size of this crate. Bang, you know, we're addicted. There was like $400 cash. There was like 5 or 6 of us, but we were buzzing out on all the games, you know, because what were they back then? Sega bloody Mega Drives or whatever the heck they were. You know, we had all them, we had all the CDs. We thought we were in heaven, you know, just what a rush it was for us. And then another week later, this is where it really sort of starts stepping up now. He thought, right, these boys are, you know, they're all good. I'll step it up a gear. So we go into Footscray now, you know, because we're on Footscray, and we just walked down for this one. So we walked down to the by the river there. So if you're on Footscray and you go past Frango Kotso, over the bridge past the old Footscray, whatever that's called, Footscray Hotel, whatever, and you go down that way to the river. Well, along the river there was these like old warehouses, like a distribution warehouse. And you know, we popped the gate. Well, they popped the gate. You know, we're amateurs right now. They popped the gate. We go into this like a warehouse, and there's a truck, pallets of you know, alcohol, spar baths, pallets of bloody matchbox cars, and just everything. One of my bros, the bro Nick, he grabs the forklift, starts loading all this crap onto the truck. We go through the bloody the offices and that. We find all their alcohol, boxes and boxes and boxes of alcohol. We find their shotguns, some ammunition. We go around bloody, you know, making a mess of the bloody place with those bloody with those toys. And yeah, we take that truck. We take that truck and we take off, and you know, we just do what you do, you know, because these, let me tell you, these boys are like professionals, eh? Like everything that was on that truck was gone, straight over the fence, gone. And I can't remember what we made, but what we made was an impact. So right now we're signed up now. We're like, right, usually the apprentices, he's obviously got his favourites. And now this is where we come to the nitty gritty of the shorts, whānau. This is probably what you've been waiting for. Sorry to keep you, you know, waiting. But if you can see that right there is what we're looking at. The old PMG, or the old little telecoms looking symbols. That's pretty much what these are. So I'll just grab my bloody camera, and we'll try and get on the buzz. So what we need to do is we need to come back to the like the beginning, and I'll just bring us back here. Actually, no, my bad. I want to come, so, right. So can you see down here? See down here, whānau? Oh man, sorry. Right, see that there? That's roughly what we're looking at. And then we've got another one, say, that comes down here. All right, sorry if this is confusing, but I'm just trying to give you a rough layout. So imagine there's lids on them. So none of these, you can't see none of these colors. Like it's like in the shorts how I showed you. But say, let's just say for tonight's earn, we want to turn off the alarm that was in, let's pretend this was our smoke shop. It's a vape shop, but let's just pretend it's a cigarette shop, a tobacconist, back in the days, eh? And this thing down here, that thing down there is the PMG or the telecom box that we're hoping corresponds to this shop. But since we've got one here, and we've got another one over there, and we're not sure which one belongs to this shop, we've got to do a little bit of sort of, you know, what's that one where you know, trial of elimination. So we need to work this out. So what we need to do then is we need to work out which corner is the closest for us. That corner's, you know, 5, 6 shops, whatever away. This corner is only like 3 shops, 3, 4 shops away. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk down to that corner and we're going to count the shops, and we're going to count our shop that we want as number 1. So let's do a whānau. So shop 1 is ours. Our next shop is 2. All right, this is still 2 whānau. So this whole empty block would represent 1 building, and that would be 2. This building is another whole separate building, so that has to be building 3. And then this corner building is a whole another separate building, because you can actually tell, see the white and the black, so that's 2 separate buildings usually. So that this will be building 4. Here's my kuti whānau, part of the mad vlog. Comes out in the 1 a.m. in the morning to do vlogs with her dad. Okay, right, so sorry whānau, we're on the corner now. And this one's shop 4, and so we found another one. So if you just imagine, right, all of these little box things, they're all going to be in all the old school streets, you know, like the old ones like Brunswick Street, all the old ones, not these new estates and all that are all, you know, popping up everywhere. I'm talking, you know, the old school ones. So they'll generally look either like that, or they'd look like the ones with the circle ends, but they'd usually look the same all the way down the street. Anyway, just quick reference. Now, shop 4 on the corner. Now, just to be sure that this one is the one we want, we just want to go for a quick walk down this way now to make sure there's no more along this line to say that that box will belong to this shop here, to sort of confuse us. And then we're going to come all the way, and let's just pretend this one is another one, so we can say, all right, well, chances are this box is on this building, so it's more than likely it goes to that, and this one on the corner didn't have nothing along the street, so the chances are again that the one we're looking at is the one for the corner, right? So that's the first process of elimination taken care of, because we don't want to slip this up. This is a very important process to make sure we go, you know, cutting the right wires. So right, we know now shop 1, box 1, that belongs to there. Next thing, shop 2, we need to look for another box. So there's no boxes on the footpath, whānau, no boxes on the footpath, no boxes on the footpath. Boom, we come to another box on the footpath. More than likely, that's box 2, shop 2, they belong together. Boom, we've hit another box instantly, and that's sitting next to the next block, so the chances are box 3, shop 3. Okay, then we're going to come down to where we were confused and not sure which one belongs to which. Now we're looking at box 4, but we're in front of shop 3. Now the chances are, what we know now just by working trial of elimination, that this box 4 belongs to shop 4, and this box 5 will belong to shop 5. And then if we come across again, we'll see that this imaginary box 6 will belong to shop 6, and then if we keep going down, they'll all sort of start matching up. So this is the simple part now, whānau. Right, they won't look like this, okay? Sorry, whānau, I'm still learning how to use this. So if you see all our colours here, we've got some orange, green, you know, pink and blue, well, they'd all be black. And they'd be all, you know, spun up and going parallel with the footpath, but there'd be one batch of wires going in. And like, just say for argument's sake, the blue one, and you know, represents this, well, that shop over here actually, and the blue one's going into that wall, and then if we come over here, it's just to sort of identify that they're different and they belong to where they belong. But if we were looking at them in real life, they would be black. So back to our box 4, wire 4, shop 4. This is what we'd want to do. First thing we do, we get our tin snips. Oh, actually, we've got to bloody open the covers, eh? I ain't even ever told you how to open these covers. So the little holes, what we'd do is we'd put our tin snips or our pliers, the handle in the hole, and we'd just yank them up. And usually if they were, had heaps of dirt and dust and all that in there, you'd just, give them a jump on them, dunk, 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 just sort of give them a bounce, and they'd bounce the dirt out, and then boom, the lid pops up. And you just look straight away, all you'd look for is whatever wires were going straight into the wall, towards the shop. And no matter what, like there'd be 5, 6 wires, say, boom, you just cut all of them. Again, I'm not endorsing this. If you go doing this these days, whānau, especially, you can't do it around here because that's not how it works around here. It just works where I grew up. And if anybody goes doing that, well, expect a bit of trouble, eh? So, yeah, back to the keys, right? So the whole idea, what these keys are giving us is giving us keys to the shop, eh? Because we know how to jimmy doors now. Hey, lifting that roller door is easy. That simple stuff, whānau. What's the hard stuff right now is making sure that alarm doesn't tell nobody we're doing any of that. So if we cut that wire, right? See this, and this is back in 93, in between 93 to 2000. So this is old technology. You can't do this now. If you do that, the police will come, plus you'll be on camera doing it. And yeah, unless you put in a lot of thought just for this bloody mess, you're making a mess for nothing. You get yourself in trouble. So again, I'm not endorsing any of this. Don't go, anyone could just chop wires anyway, so it doesn't make much difference. And none of this will work anymore. So cut it out, whānau. Don't go doing any of that. But anyway, back to shop 4, box 4. We cut that wire now, right? Now the next thing we want to do is see that bloody, that little box up there, whānau. It's like an alarm box. Now what we would normally do, we would go up there with a plank of wood, or we'd boost somebody up and they'd whack it with a hammer, or they'd just whack it anyway, because we want that alarm to go off now. That alarm needs to go off because when it tries to ring now, that phone wire's been cut and it can't ring nobody. So what we need to make sure is that we know that alarm has been that has been set off, but we don't want to do it by breaking open the door, eh? Because if somebody comes past and sees that door broken into, then obviously the game's up. You can't go carrying on like that. But if you knock that box off and the alarm's screaming from the inside, no one will even tell that you've knocked that box off to start with. But okay, that's the first part of the story. So we've cut the wire. That only takes seconds. It only takes a minute to whack that box off. You take that box and you just throw it in a rubbish bin somewhere. And now what we need to do now, whānau, is we'd have our snotty, which is a hottie, parked a couple of blocks down that way, and we'd go for a walk back down to our car, and we'd sit there, and we'd sit in our car, and we'd watch for a good hour. We'd just sit there waiting, knowing that we need to wait for an hour. And like I said, if we didn't have any tools in this hour, we'd leave somebody in the car to keep watch on our mahi, to make sure nobody turns up. And the other 2 or 3 fellas will go jumping fences looking for the other tools that we're missing. So, if we needed a crowbar or a pick or a hammer or bloody whatever we needed, we'll just go bloody, go for a walk, go and find it. Yeah, so the idea was we needed to wait for the hour. And the idea behind waiting for the hour is that if that alarm has rung anybody, they're going to come inside the hour to check out that shop. And the other side of that coin is, if nobody comes inside the hour and that alarm's been set off, the chances are, because we cut the right phone wire, that alarm couldn't ring anybody. Therefore, nobody knew to come and look at the shop to, just to see if there's any damage on the door, or, anyone's tried to force entry and, call the owners and, do whatever the protocol tells them they should do. So, if we sit there waiting for an hour, and if you're not entirely sure and you want to be super, super sure, you wait an hour and a half, eh, whānau? Why not you? If you wanted to be even super sure, you come early like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and you cut the phone wire then, and you come back at like 1 or 2 in the morning whenever you like, and see what's happened. If anyone, you know, if you look into that box and you see that, you know, somebody's done some repairs or any whatever, you'll see the traffic at the front. Pretty much, you'll know that it's not on. But like I said, if nobody turns up, it's on. More or less means that alarm has been shut down now, whānau. But the only problem is now, right, is when you jimmy the door open, or if you gain entry through another way. We'll talk about all the ways you gain entry in another vlog. We're just here talking about, you know, apprenticeships and keys to the city. Yeah, so all we have to do now is, let's just pretend we come up to the front door, we jimmy that, boom, we pop that roller door, we're in there now. Bang, the alarm goes screaming, but it's only the inside one now because the outside one's been knocked off. So that inside one's way quiet in there. Like it's you know, loud enough, but it's quiet in there. And if you've got super hearing, you can actually just run to the siren and actually grab the siren and just rip it out of the roof. Or we usually just ran, you know, to the little, you know, the pad thing. You know, we called them the sector box. So we'd run to the sector box with our crowbar or our little sledgy, and we'd just beat the fuck out of the sector to make sure that alarm goes off. And pretty much once you do that, business taken care of. That shop's what we would call shut down. The alarm's completely neutralized. We've got entry, and we'll usually have somebody, well, a car will be parked right at the front now. We'll have somebody sitting in the car keeping watch on the main road. We'd have 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had a big crew, especially back in the young days when we started going to boys' homes, and we started meeting, you know, all the other boys, you know, just to drop a few names, for all you, you know, you big bad Victorian, you know, prisoners, old Biff. You must know these fellas like old Shane Cedar and old Benny Goldsacks, and you know, those are just a couple of the bad fellas that turned out to be bad fellas that I grew up with. And I can drop their names, they know me. And they're bad, they're supposed to be big bad, you know, big bad POWs and all that now. Hey. But anyway, that's another story, whānau. These are the, you know, if you know the POWs, yeah, some bad men, whānau. Some crazy stories coming out of those, you know, those Barwon yards. But we'll get into some of those later. Just touching quickly back on the, you know, these wires. Like I said, whānau, please don't go, buddy, you know, getting involved and getting in there and doing something you shouldn't, because there's probably other shit in there nowadays. And if anybody goes making a mess, and you know, not my bad, not my fault, don't go blaming me, saying, oh bloody, oh Tane said, oh cut it out, far. But nah, anyway, whānau, I hope you've enjoyed the you know, the quick origin story on my apprentice. So that's just, you know, so like let's just say, so from those first 3 burgs, right? Those first three urns, we'll call them urns. Bang, we got put onto this now, whānau. We've been taught how to pretty much go to anywhere in Melbourne, the inner cities especially, and start bloody, you know, doing this everywhere and anywhere. And we could literally do it to any one of these. We could take our pick. We used to drive out into the middle of bloody Victoria, you know, out to bloody Inverloch and Wallen and Diamond Creek and bloody Yarra Glen and, you know, Wonthaggi or Wonthaggi, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it, all the way bloody out there. We would even go all the way up to Cowra, and oh, you don't even know. Those are all yarns to come. You know, this is 93, right? We're not even at 2008. You know, those other yarns, you know, with the drawing on the wall over there, those are 2008 and on. We're in 93 now. So yeah, if you want to hear, you know, the yarns in my legs, and just whatever yarns you've got, just drop it in the comments, whānau. You know, I'm hoping as, you know, my content gets out there, more and more people will have more and more questions, and if that happens and eventuates, I can't wait, because I need some help and you know, coming up with some content ideas. I'm just bloody walking around the middle of my town wanting to go places with this, and you know, just sitting in the middle of town telling stories is probably not going to keep the, you know, the eyes on the screen. But I'm hitting about 30 minutes, whānau, and I'm thinking that's probably going to, you know, test the boundaries of most people's concentration skills, especially in the, you know, the times of shorts and all that. But if you're stuck around this far, too much, modi ora. I appreciate everybody's you know, comments and support. Make sure you like, subscribe and share. definitely hashtag get involved, whānau. Anyway, mauri ora whānau. See you on the next one.